Hello, this is Bart with the Bicycle Rider, and here on our YouTube channel we like to focus on products that are value-based but yet also work very well. And the Kuat Transfer Series racks really do perform outstandingly well for the price you're going to pay for them. Let's just go ahead and dive into that real quick. When you're looking at the transfer racks, is kind of their budget rack system that really works well. So on a one bike rack, you're looking at about $200. On a two bike rack, you're looking at about $300. And on a three bike rack, you're looking at about $300. So, that's a pretty good price when you're comparing that to some of the other high-end racks. I have been using Kuat brand racks for quite a few years now. This is my van here, and I carry a bike on the back of my van several times a week. And the bikes I carry, well, it really doesn't matter how much they cost, but let's just say I don't want to lose any of my bikes off the back of my van because I decided to cheap out on a rack. And the Kuat transfer racks have really been put to the test by myself and by my YouTube partner Gary, as far as being able to load these bikes on a rack very quickly and go down the road without having to worry about losing your bike or your bike, coming off your rack and possibly causing some damage to someone else's vehicle or something. So that is one of the reasons that I really believe in Kuat racks, and that's because they have stood the test of time for many years for me. The transfer rack is something I've been testing out for about 6 months. I do have a Kuat Sherpa for my car. I also have a Kuat NV2 with the optional 4-bike rack option. So, that rack there cost about $1,000, and I'm going to say it's worth every penny because I have really used the fire out of that rack. And I'm not one of these guys that just has a bike that's on the road. I take my bike off-road. I do a lot of mountain biking, and to get to the mountain bike trails, you really have to go on a lot of dirt and gravel roads, so those bikes are swinging all over the place. I try not to go too fast, but I find myself on the interstate, just keeping up with traffic at 80 miles an hour, and I do not have to worry about my bike falling off the interstate at those speeds. I've had some other models of different brand racks that you almost see them swaying in the breeze at 80 miles an hour. Luckily on my van I've got a pretty good wind block, but on my car it was a whole different story. So after using the more expensive Kuat NV 2.0, which like I said is a fantastic rack, diving into the Kuat Transfer, I was a little bit skeptical because it's about half the price. But since I believe in the brand Kuat, I gave it a try, and I have been extremely happy with the transfer rack. And it does have a few advantages, actually, that I don't get off of my my NV rack. Let me go ahead and take my gravel bike off the rack here just to show you how easy it is. And this bike is very secure. I actually just got done riding. I had to hit the interstate to come here to where we're shooting this video. And this bike, I didn't have to keep looking in the rearview mirror because I just knew this rack was going to hold. But it's very easy if you just undo the rear strap. It's got a nice handle here. Simply move it up, push the arm away, and your bike is off. Going on the rack is just as easy. And I just finished, let me put the gravel bike away here for a second. And let me tell you a real life story. I was out with the triathlon group this morning, and we did a really stout 60-mile ride. I think we averaged close to 23 average. And I'm only saying that because after a ride like that, you're pretty worn out, you're pretty pooped, and here in South Mississippi it's hot. And I saw several people having to struggle with their bike in the heat to get their bike on the rack with different types of straps. One guy had a pickup truck like Gary's, and he had some, I don't know what he was doing, but it took him a long time to get a bike on the rack, where I was simply able to put my bike on the rack, strap the back wheel down with this really sturdy strap that they have, move the front wheel holder up, push it down. I usually give it just a little snug, and my bike was on the vehicle, I had the engine started and I was in the air conditioning and out of there. And several other people I could tell were really struggling with their racks. Um, Sometimes when you're looking at a high-end bike like this, some of the racks I see have a hook basically that holds down the frame. And I have noticed a lot of people have to put a towel on their frame, and that's so that that hook does not mar your bike up. And if you're riding a gravel bike or a mountain bike, that grit of the dust and dirt you get on your bike really would wear down your paint job extremely fast. So this is a no frame touch, and a lot of people that are searching for a rack really don't, if you don't understand what a no frame touch rack is, the rack is basically just holding the tires, and that way it keeps your frame from getting marked up or any damage to it. A lot of racks have some different straps, and you have to strap the strap around the frame, and those type of straps are always flapping in the wind, and I've had them mar up my paint job. And I don't, a bike is a bike, but I try to take good care of my bikes, and I don't like them all scratched up. So this type of rack here really, that is one of the big benefits, is a no frame touch. But let me go ahead and take this off and show you just a couple other features of the transfer rack. And you can see how easy it comes off. So it's made to really quickly keep you ready to ride. And there's a lot of times I'm getting off work at 5 o'clock and I'm meeting the group and they're already dressed up and ready to go. And you don't want to be the guy that slows them down. So having a rack that you can easily just get your bike off and get going really helps out the rest of the group. I have some other friends that have some racks that they've got to actually take off their bike and put it in their vehicle to lock up so it doesn't get stolen while you're riding. The Kuat comes with, its own security pins. This is the 3, so I think there was an option I had to do to get the security features, and it's really nice because it's integrated right into the arm, and it's just a simple cable with a type of lock that would be hard to cut with a bolt cutter, and it just, you wrap it around your frame and back in and lock it, and it's not the highest security, but it keeps someone from doing the snatch and grab. And a lot of times, after a ride, I throw my running shoes and go for a run, so I can, I'm kind of training for some different type of multi-sport stuff. And while I'm out running, I don't want someone snagging my bike. So, I mean, this is quick. If you have to go into a restaurant real quick, get something to eat, it just keeps someone from snagging your bike. And when you buy the security option, it also gives you a special hitch pin that has a key to it, so someone can't just steal your whole rack from you. So I believe that option was about a $50 option. And if you go price good bike locks nowadays, it's right in that same comparable. So I would just go with the factory Kuat lock system. It magnetizes right in there, keeps everything nice and neat, and it's pretty high quality. So another feature of this rack that I really like, especially for my van, is that I can move these arms out of the way to get to the interior of my van. And I've got my bike in the way here, but with some of the other racks, you can't get as close to the back of your van or your tailgate. And this is nice because I can actually step through if I'm out camping. I can, I don't have to take my rack off to get to the interior of my vehicle. So that's a real nice option. They also give you a nice foot pedal here. Some cars that have a hatch or something can't quite swing open like this one does. So it lets you lower this. You can do it with the bikes on or the bikes off, and lets you get your hatch open, which is, if you've got all your riding gear in your hatch and you can't get your hatch open, it's a real pain to deal with those type of situations where, if you can have a rack like this that's made to tilt down, it really simplifies a lot of things. And then, of course, it tilts back in, locks up, and let me just show you how it folds up. So this is how it folds up on the back of my truck like that for going down the road without a bike. And it's kind of nice because the Kuat Sherpa that I have and the Kuat NV actually have a bar that goes all the way across here, and you can't really see the license plate. Where, if a police officer wanted to investigate that, they could pull you over and say, hey, look, your bike rack is blocking your license plate. But with this rack, you can get a pretty easy view of my license plate. So it just keeps you from, having to explain that situation in court. So anyway, the Kuat Transfer has been a very great asset, and we're going to go into next video about how a bike rack can really enhance your riding and let you be able to go and take your bike places, because sometimes it's hard to ride just from the house. You miss out on a lot of opportunities. And with a value-based rack coming from a stand-up company like Kuat, it really opens the doors for people that don't want to spend, you know, $700 on a high-end rack. You can still get a rack that's made by a very reputable company that works fine. And no, it's not quite as heavy a duty as a rack as the NV 2.0, but for general use, it's really easy. The price is right, and it doesn't weigh as much. You know, when I take my Kuat 4 bike rack off, I'm going to say that that rack's well over 100 pounds, and for me to take it off my vehicle and hang it in the garage takes a bit of effort or two people. This rack is a lot lighter in weight, so it's a lot easier to maneuver. And like I said, this is the 3. Gary has the 2 bike rack. That's probably the most popular one, and it's even more manageable than the 3. I wanted a 3 because I got this crazy van, and it seems like I'm always, you know, carrying a lot of people and a lot of bikes with me. So the 3 is almost the perfect number. Sometimes 4 is just a little too much. Where, you know, a lot of people like the 2 because it is smaller. When Gary folds this up on his, this is a Toyota truck, and it doesn't stick out very far, so it kind of looks cool as well without being some kind of cumbersome rack. But I guess just in closing on this video, I have used the Kuat Transfer a lot for many different style bikes, from aero bike to a gravel bike to a touring bike to a mountain bike. I do a lot of city cruising, so I have a lot of commuter bikes, and there hasn't been a bike yet that I can't fit on the Kuat Transfer easily. You know, I give my number out to a lot of people. If they have a problem on the road, I say, call me. I've got a bike rack. I'll come get you. And this bike rack gets multiple uses every week, and it has never faltered in its purpose, or, you know, even given me any reason to say that, you know, it's not as good as the more expensive ones. So anyway, if you're kind of looking for a budget Kuat rack that does a lot of things, definitely consider the Transfer. I'm going to say it works very well, and I have used the product a lot, so I can, you know, really have a hand in this argument. If someone wants to say that it's a cheap rack and it doesn't work good, I'm going to have to ask them to explain why, because I've used it in multiple situations and it's always, you know, worked very well. Definitely check out the Kuat. Thank you.